Live. All right, I think we're live. I'm toggling through here, but I can't see much. But that's all right. We'll just roll with the punches. Third time I'm doing this intro, and I'm getting very good at it. In case we have not met, my name is Yanni Burmeister, and I'm here at Unity Gym. We are going live for Unity-V. Now we are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise. We're very, very excited. You can probably hear in the background there, babies going off. We're doing an epic super mum show today. We have two super mums in the house. We've got none other than Rachel Godfrey, and I got that right.
You did.
Believe it. And of course we've got Kalisha Geno, aka Superstar Mum, in the background helping us out with all the cameras. We are streaming live to YouTube, and we're also streaming live to Instagram. Is it live?
Yep.
Hello Instagram.
Hello.
Hello. There's a lot going on, lots of moving parts. The guys in the background here, we're playing with some new tech as always.
The quality is schmick.
Really? And I hear the film quality is very good. So we have played around with a different format today, people, which is why we don't have a bumper and a few other things going. But we're doing it to get you guys a better picture quality. Now, today, let's quickly introduce our special guest host. And if you may, Rachel, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hello everybody. I'm not sure which cameras are looking,
No,
so
just look at us.
I'm
Just
looking
have
all
it like
over
a conversation. Yeah. Look at that.
My name's Rachel Godfrey,
Oh, wow.
formerly Rachel Guy, and it's funny, like when people introduce me, they say, well, how would you want to be introduced? And I still have that Rachel Guy. Actually, it's Godfrey, my new married name. So I've had quite a journey in the fitness industry over the past couple of years. Well, I guess the past sort of
Good work, Yanni.
12 to 15.
Keep going.
Quite a journey over the past sort of 12, 13, 14 years in the industry. Started my career as a physio, moved over here to Australia, and then started personal training, quickly specialising in female fat loss. And since then, I've got married, and David, my husband, actually specialised in helping people overcome more serious conditions, anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and things like that. So we joined forces, and we now help professional women overcome hidden issues with food, struggles with not feeling good enough, low self-confidence, and low self-esteem. Essentially teaching women to know who they are, what they stand for, and where they're going in life.
Yep.
Because without those three concrete core things, it's very, very difficult to overcome anything, any obstacle, any hurdle. So that's the core of what we do now.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's epic. And you've taken it, because when we used to hang out when you were living in Australia, you were much more focused on the training side of things. So you've really gone deep now. Like
We have. I mean, my bread and butter is still the training and the nutrition, and that's still, I guess, my love. And that's where I've had to join forces with David, because he specializes in the mindset stuff. And I think as a trainer, we have influence over our clients in terms of motivating them and getting them excited to train, but there comes a deeper level when somebody's really struggling with hidden issues with food, emotional eating, binge eating, really struggling with things like perfectionism, which I think both you and I have really struggled with. Stress and perfectionism, especially in our early 20s. And these are things that you really have to get a hold of if you want to be truly happy, and that takes more than just personal training. We can certainly influence our clients in many ways, and encourage and inspire them to change, but it's, I guess the parallel that we draw is it would be like if we have a young guy coming in to train with us, we get a good body transformation out of them, they lose 10, 15 kilos, they walk away with a six-pack. It's like then that client teaching somebody else to do the same thing. Now, they're not a specialist in that area. What if then that young guy has a lady come in who's perhaps in her mid-40s, she has a severe scoliosis, she has problems with her hips. He doesn't have the skills in order to be able to train somebody like that. And I guess the same is true with personal training. Like we have certain skills, but when it comes to real behavioral change, that's where you need a specialist. And
absolutely.
I think having been in the industry for many years, I'm sure you guys find the same, like you get to a certain place with some clients and then you need to refer them on for help. And I guess that's where I was in my career, and I was dealing with some quite severe and difficult cases of fat loss.
Yep.
And I was at the stage where I either needed myself to go on and do further training, and I just happened to marry somebody who actually happened to be working in that field and who was an expert in that area. So I kind of got killed two birds with one stone.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's actually interesting because we've very much sort of steered, and I don't know if it was a conscious decision to do so, but we've steered away from marketing to weight loss clients because, quite frankly, we just kept coming across issues that we weren't really equipped to deal with.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a lot more going on there that needs to be done other than just belt people. Like, we've got this sort of ethos now: don't punish the body you dislike. You're trying to build the body that you want, you know, and it's sort of, I guess now we're more working with on a performance level with people, you know. The majority of our clients that come to work with us now have done a lot of other stuff,
100%.
and they're now looking for something that's going to keep them engaged long term, and I guess something a little bit more than just the average I want to go burn some calories, that sort of thing, you know.
And I think that's, you know, I think that's the evolution of training as you know, the evolution of a personal trainer, but I also think it's the evolution of now of the fitness industry, where on the one side we have, you know, obviously we have the, I guess, Instagram fitness influencers who very much push like fast fat loss results. And then I think we have, you know, us old goats in the industry who are, you know, pushing mid-30s ourselves and, you know, into our 40s, and actually training. There's nothing wrong with training for aesthetics. Like, I'm the first to say, like, I want to look good in a bikini. Right? But I think we also train for different reasons now, you know, to feel good. And so, you know, we've been through the times where we've been smashing our bodies in the gyms for many years, and you know, I think it's an evolution. But
is it this is a question that I keep asking myself. Is it a hormonal thing? Like hormonal shift in our bodies that changes our mindset, or is it an evolution because of becoming more wise? Like, what's the?
I think we're just older or wiser.
Yeah. Because I certainly don't have. The reason why I say hormonal is because I was saying this to Rad the other day. I don't have the testosterone now to come in and just have that thirst to belt myself ridiculous levels of intensity, you know, and. But then again, like, I don't know, like, you just don't. I see older people in the industry who are still doing that, and I wonder whether they have help to do it, or whether maybe they're just different types of people. I don't know.
I guess one thing that I certainly have noticed is, as I suppose I've got a bit older, and you know, now having Xavier, is that my drive to push to that level, I just don't have it anymore. You know, like, I still train pretty hard, right? You know, I train 3 to 4 times a week. I lift weights, and I walk. And, you know, obviously these things are very important to me. Health and fitness is important to me. But, you know, to be able to go into a gym and do high intensity cardio, you know, 4 or 5 times a week, honestly, I can't think of anything worse. Which makes me then think, no wonder women hate exercise, or why people can't stick to a training plan. They're going in to a gym, doing these extreme high intensity workouts, sweating like there's no tomorrow. They're not refueling themselves. They're on low calorie diets. They're trying to diet harder and harder, eat less and less, and inevitably then they're going to binge. And then they play this game of, oh, well, you know, because I've broken my diet, you know, I'm a failure. And then it's, you know, they have this constant diet failure after diet failure after diet failure. Whereas if you're going to train at that level, you've got to be eating like a horse.
One thing sort of leads to another when you have one failure too. We were talking about this the other day. I love the concept of focusing on the first win and then having that roll over, you know. But I think that there is, I mean, Rad and I now, we're very much we're focusing now on like 70% every day, or even less intensity, you know, frequency over intensity, consistency over intensity, because quite frankly, if I was to use myself as a blueprint, I am a beat up motherfucker. Like, my body hurts, and I'm not even 40, you know, I'm almost 40, and there's like, you know, I talk to my clients all the time, and I just trained a guy in his 50s this morning who's my only one-on-one client, And he's like, you know, I feel like I'm on this periodic circle where it's either my shoulder, he's got a bunged shoulder, he's got a bung lower back, he's got a bung knee, and it's always one of them. And he said, is that like normal, do you think? You know, I'm always sort of working around this sort of thing, and we're always limiting what he lifts because of either one of those. And I said, dude, honestly, I feel the same way. And I think it's just because he was a rugby player, you know. We went into our 20s with the mentality of it's go hard or go home. You beat the fuck out of your body, you know, to get the most out of your body. And I know plenty of people who still do that. I don't think it's winning though. I don't think it's working like long term, because you get to this point in your 30s and 40s, like I think we may need to have a recalibration and start sort of thinking, is it worth it? Because I also know a stack of people, a lot of our friends, I bump into a few of them at our kids' jiu-jitsu classes and stuff like that.
I can't wait to start something.
Yeah. Who like, you know, they were real fit back in the day when we were all working at Fitness First and stuff like that, and they're all not anymore, you know, and they were all guys that really beat themselves silly, you know, and I think there needs to be something a bit deeper motivating you, and a rethink about whether it's true. I saw a great podcast on Joe Rogan the other day where he was talking to a guy, and they were, you know, going through all the elite level guys, physique guys, bodybuilders, stuff like that, who had peaked at the top level but fallen off the mountain really badly and really slid down, you know, and because of their bodies just giving out on them, you know. Ronnie Coleman's one of them, you know. He's in a mess now.
I guess I'm just curious to know whether that's like that, like evolution of like growing up, right, and experience. Because when you're in your 20s, you want to look good to get laid, right? And
without a doubt,
you know, and that goes for guys and girls.
Oh,
come on, like, you know, anyone who says that that's not what, you know, why they're training, unless you're maybe a peak performance athlete. But that's the truth and how it is. And so I think maybe, you know, you try and take a 20-year-old guy now and just tell him, you know, unless, I mean, there are cases out there that, you know, I think training has evolved as well, so that, you know, when you're serious about your physique, you start with a coach much younger. I think that's where the key comes in, is introducing coaches and trainers at that younger stage. And you can still train somebody really hard, but it needs to be periodized. And I think that that's where, you know, in your early 20s, there's no periodization at all. It's like go hard, go home. My God, do you remember the days like 10, 12 years ago? We were smashing No Explode. We were doing, you know, the proper, like, you know, all of these like caffeine stimulants and everything, like, and just throwing them down like there was no tomorrow. And I don't know. I mean, I don't train 20-year-olds now, so I would presume that, you know, they're going through what we went through then. And is it just an evolution thing? And is it just that, you know, that's experience? And where we are now, because we fucked up and we've done stuff along the way that has kind of brought us to this old wise place that we are.
It's definitely an age thing for sure, because when there's, you know, it's the age-old thing, isn't it? You know, when wisdom tries to impart on youth and it just never gets there, it falls on deaf ears. And you don't learn this kind of thing until you experience it for yourself. But I think where we're at now, I mean, I'm 40 now. I turned 40 this year. And
you look spectacular, man.
In a way, well, thank you, Rachel. But my body's in better condition than it has been in a long time. And I even suffered a torn meniscus this year, but I was able to rehab it very quickly. And I was able to rehab it very quickly because I identified it early. I didn't just try and push through. As soon as I felt pain, I was smart enough to go, I better go and check this out. But I think there's, in this case, there's two kinds of people. There's the kind of people that get to that point in their life where they realize how beat up their body is and they can't train the way that they want to anymore, and they give up. Because it's a really, really hard pill to swallow when you're told that you can't do the thing that it's really been a defining factor as who you are for your whole life.
It's your identity.
Yeah, it's your identity, And you become a has-been. And when you become a has-been, you have to change everything about yourself, and you're one of those people that sits there and really gets stroppy at younger people that are doing the things that you used to love. Or you do what we're all talking about doing, which is you take a breath, reevaluate how you do everything, and start over. And you start over with knowledge and wisdom that you never ever had before, so that you can. But for a lot of people, that's too much. For a lot of people, when they realize you can't lift heavy weights every day of the week, you can't push yourself until you're wrecked and then just take a couple of days off and then go back and do it again. Your body's just going to, like, you've come now to a point where the injuries that you've got to, or the state that your body's been beat up to, it will not survive anymore. And yeah, I think for a lot of people it's just too much. A lot of people can't deal with it. And then there's those of us that, I mean, I know for myself, I kind of feel like I'm only just getting started with a whole new, era of training. Like I'm like what Yanni said, like approaching every workout where I intentionally never go above 70 or 80% of what my max effort is. And I'm never thinking about what can I get out of this one workout. I'm always thinking about how well am I going to be able to train tomorrow and how good am I going to feel tomorrow after this workout. Not what can I do in this one workout, which is so different. It was all about what am I doing in this workout now.
And it would, like, some of those training sessions that we used to do, like, they'd fuck you all day, and sometimes you'd be so neurologically fucked. Like,
I couldn't think.
You couldn't think.
You couldn't
and
talk.
so,
yeah.
And to think, like, having clients now, if anybody's listening to this who's a younger trainer, and you're training, clients in their 30s and 40s to that point where they can't stand up and they can't walk, and they are so neurologically and physically exhausted. How do you expect them to then go back to work in the afternoon when you've told them, by the way, to be on a low carb diet?
Yeah.
And then they're going and then they're going home to, they've probably got young children.
Mm-hmm.
It is exhausting, and I think what you were saying about training at 70%. When you have kids thrown into the mix as well, and life gets busy, right? Before children, life was busy. Like, it's even busier now. And I think workouts don't have to be something that you go and exhaust yourself.
No.
Like we were saying before, and I think, and we'll talk specifically about, I guess, female fat loss, because that's what I specialize in. But a lot of women make training to be this big deal in their head, where they think and overanalyze and get themselves to a place of overwhelm, because they think, oh my God, I've got this huge workout ahead of me. I've got to do this, and it's just too exhausting to even think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas Xavier's now 6 months old. I've had some terrible workouts in the past 6 months where I've been absolutely exhausted. I don't want to go to the gym, and I think it's just one of those things where you just have to just go and just do something.
Yeah.
I've been in the gym sometimes 20 minutes and I've done just a couple of sets. That's it. I'm done. I've done something.
Yeah.
And so just, what I say to all new mums is just put one foot in front of the other. And it's the same regarding whether, despite the fact whether you're a new mum or whether you're just starting a workout or, you're just coming back into training. Just put one foot in front of the other, and it's consistency. Like, it's dull, it's boring. It's not sexy. Balance and consistency, and that's how it is. We can't jazz that up in any other way, but that's what it is. You look at anybody who is successful in maintaining a physique, building a business, it's the dull and the boring and the monotonous stuff that we have to do behind the scenes which actually creates the success.
Yeah. So let's wind this back to your personal experience. You've just had your first child 7 months ago? 6.5 months ago. Yeah. Okay. So give us, for all of the women out there that are going to listen to this podcast and this live stream that'll go up on YouTube and Facebook, what have you done that you either didn't have to do before, or has nothing changed? Have you been able to just roll out, like you were well practiced obviously before with your health and fitness? Have you had to change anything after having a child?
Yeah, so I guess my journey has been pretty much what I expected it to be. So when I had Xavier, I took 7 weeks off training. I didn't obviously lift anything, and I spent the first 12-week block rehabbing my pelvic floor.
Yeah.
And it's one thing that some women talk about it, but like, let's just get it out in the open. I was walking down the street and I was peeing myself. My pelvic floor was just shot. I had a natural delivery. I had a very straightforward delivery. I'd done a lot of pelvic floor work before. I lifted weights right until the end, but still, I really struggled. Afterwards.
Yep.
So I spent the first 12 weeks doing an awful lot of rehab. I went to see a women's physio. I highly recommend that all women post-birth must go and see a women's physio. I don't care whether you've had a cesarean section or whether you've had a natural delivery. Go. So I worked with an amazing physio in Dubai, and I actually had trigger points in my pelvic floor, which has meant that it couldn't contract properly. So we did some work, which was very painful, and trigger point release, and almost immediately I was able to rehab properly. So I really spent the first 12 weeks doing a lot of internal work, a lot of core work and things like that.
So that's interesting. Sorry to cut you off, because that would turn half the women off trying to exercise. Because if they're having problems like that, then they're like, oh my God, I don't want to go into a gym, or I don't want to do this. What happens if I wee myself and I'm exercising? You know, like literally, And
I
that's
think
really
we should
interesting.
talk more about this stuff.
Absolutely,
because, you know, in the summer, you know, I went home back to the UK, and I was walking through this forest, and I just said to David, I've totally lost all dignity, because I was carrying Xavier in the carrier, so obviously there was a lot of pressure on my tummy. I was desperate for the loo. There was nowhere to go, and I just started leaking. And I was like, "Oh my God, like my dignity has been lost." But you know what? Like, frankly, most women go through this stuff.
Absolutely.
Nobody talks about it. Luckily, I had black pants on. I was able to just tie something around my waist and just like swallow my pride. And I said to David, "Well, there you go. Like, you've seen it all now. Whatever, right?"
I'm fairly certain that Kalisha's told me a few times that she didn't quite make it to the loo. There's been quite a few occasions there where she's like, "Get off the toilet! Get off the toilet!"
Well, there you go. It's like popping a balloon, right? So that's what I spent the first 12 weeks doing. And I did start lifting in that time as well. Now, I went back to lifting. I've got, you know, I started lifting when I was 13. I've got a lot of experience. I know my body very well. I went back and I started doing sort of more, I guess, more bodybuilding type training, very much isolation stuff. And I just worked up very, very slowly. And people say, well, you know, when would you start deadlifting again? I'm like, when you're ready. Like, you don't get a beginner to deadlift, and it's exactly the same after you've had a baby. You need to rehab to that point. And you know, probably only after about 16 weeks was I starting, you know, I was doing Romanian deadlifts, and then obviously I just sort of I put the rack lower and lower, and you just slowly work back into it. You know, am I deadlifting what I was before? No, I've got no interest in chasing weight now, like none at all. You know, are my glutes growing? Yes, good, box ticked. So, you know, that's, for me, that's what training is about. I've got no interest in training weight, but interestingly, what you were saying earlier, Rad, my body is in much better condition now than it was 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Really?
Much better. My training volume is less. I just walk a lot. And my body feels better. Like I have no aches and pains at the moment. And I attribute that to doing a lot of pelvic work. Obviously that includes back stability, things like that. So so I guess that's been my journey. And then after about 12 weeks, those first initial 12 weeks, then I did focus a little bit more on fat loss. And just regaining a lot of the muscle that I lost during pregnancy. I actually didn't put on that much weight whilst I was pregnant, but I did in the first month to 6 weeks after I gave birth. So I was breastfeeding for a month. I really struggled with that. This was something that was quite difficult, a bitter pill to swallow, I guess, because I was like, oh, you know, I'm only going to exclusively breastfeed, and I actually really struggled. I had vasoconstriction and neural pain. So every time the baby latched, it felt like a hot needle being inserted into my nipple, which wasn't very nice. And I couldn't feed without, you know, Voltaren and paracetamol. Inevitably, that gets into the baby, you know, into your milk. And so it got to the stage where, after seeing, you know, many lactation consultants and doctors, that I had to pull the pin. And you know, I think then you go through a grieving process of when your expectation doesn't meet reality. Obviously, that's when you feel disappointed, you feel upset, and so you go through this grieving process of, well, I can't breastfeed, you know. But you have to look on the other side as well, where my mum said to me, Rachel, you need to put Xavier on a bottle. His colic cleared up, you know, a lot. Since I put him on a bottle, you know, there's some very good organic based formulas now. So, you know, if I have another baby, would I try again? Yeah, I would. But again, it's kind of opened up my eyes to, you've just got to do what you need to do to get through those first couple of months. And whether that's breastfeeding or bottle feeding, or, you know, a dummy was the other thing. I was like, oh, my child's not gonna have a dummy. Well, he's got a dummy and he loves it, and it's
Oh
brilliant.
my God, if you can get them to self-soothe on
That's
something,
it
yeah,
now, yeah,
absolutely.
And now he's able to grab his dummy and put it in his mouth, like game changer.
Hey, before I forget to ask, would you be able to tell me what your favourite formula is for babies? Because we might be able to link that in the description of the video. Yeah,
for sure. So actually, obviously I live in Dubai now, so I actually use Hip Organic.
Yep.
That's probably the only organic baby formula that I can find in Dubai.
Yep.
Since I've been here in Sydney, there are like so many great ones. So Bellamy Organics is excellent.
Yep.
Also Munchkin.
Okay.
Munchkin is a grass-fed New Zealand whey. It's the baby formula is like whey protein.
Yeah,
essentially.
that's
It's
right.
an expensive whey protein.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So those would probably be in Australia my top two picks.
Yeah, cool.
Bellamy. Now, Xavier is not a reflux baby, and he doesn't have severe colic. I think with babies who have who really struggle with reflux, or certainly silent reflux, especially as newborns, there are now some great formulas out there to help with that. I think they're a little bit thicker. I don't know too much about reflux, but so yeah.
I'll have a look for those, and we'll link them in the description, so anyone who needs it can grab it.
But Bellamy Organics is great. They do these like little pouches of foods, and then it's just real food.
Yeah.
And it tastes great. And I guess I'm weaning Xavi now, and he's starting to eat solids, and some of these baby forms I usually make my own. Obviously I'm traveling at the moment, so I'm using packages. Some of them taste rank, and I just feel like, well, if I'm not going to eat it, he's not going to eat it. But some of them are delicious.
We did this when we were in Vegas with you a couple of years ago, and we had Kobe. We had to find new formulas over there, and I was like tasting them, going, "Fuck me, I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to give that to my child." But we found one that seemed to work okay.
And I think, like I said, I think you just have to make the best decisions with the options that you have available. Yeah. And formula's expensive.
Oh yeah,
man,
they're robbing.
It sure is.
That's the latest thing in Australia. People are robbing supermarkets for baby formula.
Really? I see.
Yeah, man. Did you not see that?
It's in Chinese. Like it basically says like you're not allowed to buy more than 2% of China.
Gangs are like robbing supermarkets and chemists for all of their baby formula.
You can't buy more than 2?
Because apparently, and this is what I.
Because I've seen that, and I was like, that's really weird. Why would you not be able to buy more than 2?
Apparently, in China, this is what I've been told, and again, like, don't quote me on this. I say don't quote me on this. It's
you heard it here first.
You heard it here
on
first.
Instagram, Live, everywhere
apparently,
else.
it's either very difficult to get good baby formulas, or they're very expensive in China. So people are buying them here and sending them off to China.
Really?
Yeah.
People were, for a while, last year, there was like a huge issue where people were going in and buying like every thing of formula and then reselling it over in China online.
Yeah.
And making a fortune, like marking it up like triple.
Well, I've definitely seen the signs that say you can't buy more than 2, and you'd go in sometimes and it's just all gone. There's no formula. And you're like, wow, that's.
Well, I haven't been able to find that Munchkin formula because that would have been my first pick, and then when I found the Bellamy one, I could only buy 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Wow, what a world.
I know, right? Crazy.
What a world. So. What's the biggest tip? Like what? Sorry.
No. You go.
I was just gonna say, what is like? We got a lot of women who are having children. We've even got a couple here who have just recently had children. I'm just trying to think back about we suffered a massive mindset shift, partially because of the sleep change in your routine, and it seriously fucks with your motivation.
It does,
so you have this double whammy going. It's like when you have a vacation and you don't train for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you've got to reinstigate or initiate that daily habit. But then on top of all of that, you're also fighting a lot of sleep deprivation. Yeah. And you're kind of feeling like, Jesus, is it going to be good? I mean, I have this loop going over in my mind. Is it actually going to be good for me to exercise today, or is it going to be bad for me to exercise?
I've had that play out in my head too.
Because I'm so tired. Like, am I just going to bang myself up even more? What is your advice to a new mother who's just had their first or second child, and they're trying to get back into some form of normality with their lifestyle and health?
Do something. I don't care whether it's a walk around a block. There have been days where I've been so exhausted that most of the time I try and get myself to the gym. Even if I walk to the gym, it's a 7-minute walk. I'll do maybe like a couple of lateral raises and you know, I don't know, some line leg curls, that's it, like workout done.
Yeah.
It's something, you walk back 7 minutes and
Yeah.
you feel better afterwards. And so, yeah, of course, there have been days where, like you said, is it actually going to be beneficial for me to train today?
Yeah.
And I think the answer to that is it's always beneficial to do something. You know, whether it's you go for a walk, you walk around a block. I'm a massive fan of NEET and, you know, a Fitbit. Everybody should be doing a minimum 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
We are an active, sedentary society.
Just quickly before I cut you off, for those of you who don't know, NEET stands for non-exercise energy thermogenesis, which is the term used to describe exercise that's not part of your daily exercise routine, the incidental exercise.
Yeah, and that can be doing the washing, climbing up the stairs. You know, this is where the old school stuff of, you know what, if you're going to go to the supermarket, park a little bit further away. These small things make big things.
Yeah.
And so I'm a massive fan of NEET. You know, I get all my clients to use a Fitbit. I think, like I said, active sedentary society, you know, we sit down all day and then we go to the gym for an hour and think we're active. We're not. Active is when you're on your feet all day, and that's actually the one thing I think becoming a parent, your NEET is through the roof.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't sit down. I don't.
Just
stop.
from that,
he's
like she's bopping up and down over there. I see Kalisha all day doing this. You know, just bopping up and down, and I'm like, man, the calories you're burning doing that is phenomenal. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So so just do something, and you know that might be just doing a few squats at home. It might be going for a walk around the block. It could be, you know, I'm swinging Xavier, like his latest thing is like he likes to jump. Yeah. And it's just like he's just so busy all of the time. So just do something. The second thing I would say is get a trainer. If you're not experienced in lifting and you can't guide yourself, get a trainer. And even as, you know, I have a coach, I have a trainer. Yeah. And I've been lifting since I was 13 years old. You know, we all, you look at anyone who's successful in life, in business, with a body transformation, they've all got a coach. Yeah. And so there is always, you know people say, oh, training is expensive. Well, so is being unhealthy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Actually, you know, you either invest now or you invest in a surgeon later.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's that simple. And you know, especially with the amount of programs that are online nowadays, do something. You can get programs for $20 or you can get programs for, you know, $500 plus, but you get what you pay for in life. Yeah. You know, sometimes I have a bit of a problem sometimes with these $20 programs because people buy them, they might do them for a couple of days and then say it doesn't work. Whereas what they really need is to invest at a higher level. They'll actually do the work.
Yeah.
So it's a bit
That's
of
a really good point,
approach.
actually.
So, you know, sometimes
the concept of people that pay stay, you know,
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, you have to invest at a higher level if you really want something. But again, it's time for that internal motivation, knowing who you are, what you stand for in life, and where you're going. Yeah. So becoming a mother doesn't define me. It hasn't changed who I am at all. Yeah. And you know, it's great. Xavier is awesome. I can hear him screeching in the background, but it doesn't define who I am as a person. Yeah. And I think what we were saying before, of, you know, Raj, you said when you go through that phase where people have this, like, it's like a bitter pill to swallow when you can't lift heavy weights anymore. That's when generally you've got to do the work on yourself. And you know, when we're dealing with, and I know I'm skipping from thing to thing here, but they're exactly the same. So whether it's somebody struggling to swallow that bitter pill, or whether it's somebody struggling with low self-confidence, not feeling good enough, hidden issues with food, emotional eating, binge eating, it's all the same stuff. That's not the real problem. So in any of these situations, if you're struggling with somebody in life, with something in life, focus on the real issue. The real issue is what's going on in here or in here, not the external stuff. Yeah. Whereas people struggle with emotional eating and binge eating, they go chase a new diet, they go chase a new training program.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not what they need.
Yeah, I reckon
they need to develop themselves and grow as a human.
Yeah, that actually is very much in alignment with something that we were talking about last time. Yanni and I had a chat on our live show last week. We went over the 5 things that we suggest people focus on for motivation, and one of them was learning how to become the person that you want to be, and let go of the person that you were. And I I think that what you're talking about there is touching on the same kind of thing. It's where you recognize in life that in so many areas you want something that you don't have, and that requires work to be done to do that. But to do that, you know, once you take on this new role of you know, getting something that you want, it changes your life, which means you become a different person. So if you try and hang on to the person that you used to be, the habits that you used to have, the things that you used to do with your time, it becomes very, very hard to get that new thing. And I think becoming a new parent is like the ultimate you know, example of that. You hopefully you planned for your kids, hopefully you wanted them, and if you didn't, you know, hats off to you that you're doing it anyway. I can't imagine how tough that must be, because we definitely planned for ours. Yeah. But you know, you all of a sudden you've got this whole new person that you need to be, and I think often people are just hanging on to the past and they're not willing to see the change that's necessary. And yeah, you don't need it to define you. It doesn't need to be you're now a mum or you're now a dad and that's all you are. You just need to become that new person, and you need to act in that different way, and you need to, yeah.
You get more of what you focus on in life, and I think a lot of people can tell you in exquisite detail what they don't want.
Yeah.
But they can't tell you what they do want. So therefore they're in this never-ending circle of, I feel like shit. I can tell you exactly why I feel like shit, and you know, all of this stuff that they don't want, but they don't know what they do want, so therefore they stay in this pit of stuckness. Whereas, you know what, you focus on more on what you do want with that new identity, and you have to make decisions differently, and that's what drives you forward.
Yeah.
It's really funny that you say that, because that's a concept that Yanni and I have been preaching for a long time. And when you have someone like, when we have a chat with someone like you who's done a lot of self-development yourself, it's funny how these same concepts come up within people that have read books or that have sought out mentors, but people that have done zero proactive work on becoming the person that they want to be, or on saying, you know what, I hate this, I want that, I better learn some shit to help me get it. And that is such a true thing that I don't even know where we've read so many books over the last 5 years or 10 years on self-development, and maybe it was even in Think and Grow Rich that was the first time I heard something like that. But that concept is not something that it's not the first time I've heard that, where, you know, the average person is just focusing so much on what they don't want, and they're not putting any work into what they do want. And when you sit someone down and say, when was the last time you put a pen to paper and said, this is what I want in 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years? And most people will go, well, and then you get people to do it and they come back with, oh, I want to be a little bit happier in a year, and I want to have lost, you know, 3 kilos. And yeah. And you're like, really? That's what you want for yourself in a year? Yeah. You just complain to me for half an hour about what you don't want, and your goals are like 0.5% of what they should be.
Yeah, it's definitely getting to the core, and like, we act on emotion. Yeah. And so people say, oh, well, I want this car, I want this house, but why? And it will come down to because of the way it makes you feel.
Yeah, you want to feel better.
You want to lose 5 kilos. Okay, why do you want to lose 5 kilos? Because I want to feel more confident. Okay, why do you want to feel more confident? Because I want to be able to wear this red dress. Okay, why do you want to be able to wear the red dress so I can go out for a date with my husband? Why do you want that? To feel loved, to feel more confident, to feel, to you know, to be able to walk down the stairs with my hair done, and to be able to wear this red dress, and to know, you know, when you speak to clients, you get to know their language, and they'll say, so that my husband gives me that look.
Yeah.
You know, and that is a feeling. It's not something you can buy, but people associate it with something that they can purchase. So, you know, I love designer handbags, right? I haven't bought any since Davi's come along because, you know, he's expensive, like the prams and all that. So, but, you know, people say, well, why do you need this shit, right? Because it's the feeling, like it's the feeling that you have, like when you have a Chanel handbag, it's the feeling that you have. Like I bought, when I launched Athletic Fox Blueprint back in 2014, I didn't pay myself for a year, but I bought myself a Chanel handbag. Every time I use it, I'm like, I remember it. I have this feeling when I have my bag that I worked so damn hard for it. And it's that feeling. And it's the same whether you're losing weight or whether you're, you know, people buy on emotion. and people act on emotion. And I think that, you know, as you know, if there's any trainers listening to this, that's probably the one thing that you can really get to, you know, get your clients to actually start to take action now, instead of this bullshit of, oh, well, okay, I didn't fill out my food diary this week because of X, Y, and Z. You know, you have to really get to the core of what somebody wants and why they want it.
Yeah.
And asking the why question.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We sort of have this thing. If your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. It's got to be deep. You got to go deep.
That's a good one. I like that.
You know.
Yeah.
And it really does. It really has to be. And this is something we're about to launch a new online motivation masterclass. Because I'm just so sick and tired of people not going deep enough on their planning and their goals. You know, like.
Yeah.
Every person that I know who's achieved a decent level of success is like a master planner, like lifestyle hacker, you know, like, and you can't, I did a hands up. I had 12 people in my session a few weeks ago, and I said, hands up if you've written your goals down this year properly, you know, and I had like 3 people put their hand. I'm like, are you fucking serious? It's like the first thing we do with you guys, you know, like what is going on? And the thing is, the people that are crushing their goals, that are achieving their goals, they were the people that put their hands up, you know.
The proof is in the pudding, right? I have known you guys for years.
Yeah.
I knew you when you were both at Fitness First, and you know, before you even Unity even existed. I just see the evolution of, you know, how you guys started Unity, and you know, you had like, it was a lot of strength-based stuff, and how you guys have evolved.
Yeah.
And it's evolution. You know, I walk in here, say you got a full podcast setup. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna call David now and be like, we need to up our game, because one of the things that we're gonna do next year is a podcast. And I'm like, oh my god, we need to up our game, and we need to learn some new tech stuff, because you know, as a business owner, you have to keep evolving, and that comes down to planning. And so you know, you walk the talk, but like, you know, Unity Gym walks the talk, the planning, that's exactly what it is. It's the evolution, and is it not constant growth, because your business will only grow as fast as you guys can grow.
Yeah, that's right.
And
exactly.
You know, you know, I certainly know that you and I have perfectionists in the past, and you know, I've certainly struggled with stress, overwhelm in my 20s, and my business would only grow so far. You've got to learn to get over those behaviors, because they're not serving you.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
exactly the same whether we're dealing with fat loss or business growth.
Yeah,
exactly the same.
This is the thing. I mean, the amount of time that I spend or have spent in the last 5 to 10 years, well, 8 years really. 30 was like the turning point for me, where I decided to really pull my shit together on neural programming and like changing the way I thought, you know. And it took a lot of work, man.
That's
like,
his area.
because I was negative, suffered depression, you know, full on. And it took a lot of conscious work, reading books, educating myself, practicing every day, like full on meditation, affirmations, visualization, writing everything down, you know. And I was just talking to Kalisha yesterday or the day before, like 90% of this year's plan has come to fruition. Like literally,
like,
you know.
In a pudding. Yeah, amazing.
That's right, you know. And so.
Do you ever pat yourself on the back though and go, yeah, I've done a good job?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
And as a, you know, I think as a former perfectionist, this is the thing that, you know, as a perfectionist, you always ask yourself what's not good enough. Whereas when you've overcome that and you develop yourself to a point where you can look back and go, I'm so fucking proud.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've worked damn hard for this and I'm really proud.
Yeah.
That's so important as well. Again, fat loss or whatever it is, like to look back instead of looking to how far you've got to go. Be proud of the work that you've done today.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, being introduced to Gary Vaynerchuk through our mutual friend Kerwin Ray was a big shift for me, because I've really tuned into his message, and he's really preaching now that starting and scaling a business is fucking hard, and 99% of people will fail. They won't make it. And you know, in that regard, when I look around and go, shit, we've achieved a lot, you know. I think, we've done insanely well. And considering that we had zero help other than the network that we created around us, our inner circle, clients step forward, helping us, giving us feedback, things like that, you know. You introducing me to Kerr, and that year was a lot of growth for me, you know. Little things like that. When you plot the steps back and you think about it and go, shit, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have met Gary and we wouldn't be doing a podcast right now, you know, and things like that.
The biggest thing is that all of this stuff takes balls. It takes giant balls to go, okay, right, we need to change. And you know, when you've got a gym and you kind of set in your ways, it takes big balls to go, actually, we're going to shift everything. We're going to sell a heap of equipment. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It takes massive balls.
Yeah.
Every time
absolutely.
you invest in a mentor, it takes a lot of balls. You know, it's sometimes, well, it is a lot. It's a lot of money. You know, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like if you're doing a business mastermind, it's an awful lot of money. That's you know, it's a you know, the heart jumps into the throat, but at the same time, you know that you've got to do it, and you've got to put one foot in front of the other and take massive action. You know, you can't expect, and I say this a lot to clients, like you can't expect to change your life on a part-time basis. You have to go full in, balls deep.
This is something that Rad and I have been talking about a lot. I mean, our program here now, and you'll probably go, oh my God, it's a 5-day program.
Amazing.
Like all of our clients train with us 5 days, or work with us to some level 5 days. They're not doing hardcore, like we keep it 70% every day, you know, but it's about the ritual, the daily ritual of coming to the gym or being, because we find that the days that they're here, they eat better, they sleep better, they prioritize those health factors. And it just has that snowball effect, you know. So now we've just created this culture where, you know, we sell it as a sort of 3-day membership based on the price point that we used to charge, but it's a 5-day program. You know, they're doing different movements every day, they're doing different mobility every day, and the majority of our guys train 4 or 5 days a week, really now, you know. I mean, even 6 now. We do a session on Saturday morning, and us trying to train twice a day, but we do a lot of flexibility, a lot of stretching, a lot of mobility, you know. But it's been a huge change. It's a huge shift, and like we're certainly all in, and we do ask of that of our clients now, you know.
Sure.
But we get amazing results. Like I mean, you get people with you get to work with anyone 5 days a week, and you're going to get a good result, you know.
And it's the tribe, and it's, I think, the community, and this is why CrossFit has been amazing. You know, just
they nailed the tribe.
That CrossFit has created is amazing. You know, like it's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so we've got some big stuff for girls to implement. I think the biggest one is just to do something, take action, get yourself going again, you know. And
understand, like, it's a journey, you know, and it takes time. Like people will say to me, well, oh my gosh, you got in shape so quickly after having a baby. And I'm like, well, actually, it's taken time. And 6 months after having a child, like, you should be well on your way. Bearing in mind, like, you know, I've been lifting weights since I was 13. I'm an expert in my field. I know all the tricks and the tips, and I can do it all myself quickly. But there's no reason why 6 months after having a baby, you can't make significant progress. You can. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because you can make significant progress.
Can I ask one thing on a personal level? Because one thing that fascinates me about you is that you have, as far as I've known you, to some degree, you've worked with a physical trainer, a coach, whether it's a performance coach, you know, and would you say does that help you to be more accountable to someone else? Is that why you do it mostly? Because I realise now I gave Rachel a very, very shit intro. Like, she is a highly qualified, you've studied physiotherapy, you've been a personal trainer for like 15, 16 years.
13 years.
13
I'm not
years,
that old, I'm 35
all right. And I missed out a lot in your intro that I really should have probably mentioned. She's like someone who you wouldn't think you would need a strength coach or a personal trainer, but you've always worked with a personal trainer.
I've always worked with a trainer.
Tell us a little bit about that. Like, why would you? Is it an accountability thing? Because you certainly don't need the education, although it's beneficial.
I think you always learn something new, and I think when when you've been training for so long, you always have bias. You're always biased towards certain things. Like, you know, if I had it my way, I'd train like glutes and delts every day.
Yeah.
I'd have a pretty unbalanced physique. And so I like to abdicate responsibility for somebody else, because you know, I know a lot about the body and I would know how to do my own training, but it's having somebody else do it for you.
Yep.
And then I don't have to, honestly, I just don't have to think about it. I just go and I just do what I'm told to do.
It's nice to be able to switch off when you go and do your workout.
Exactly. And so there's that, and having an objective, somebody who can just basically take a look at your physique and tell you what you need to work on, rather than, like I said, doing it my way. And look, I basically, whilst I was pregnant, I didn't have a trainer. I didn't really know how my pregnancy was going to kind of work out. Next time I'll probably have a coach.
Yeah.
Just to write some basic programming, just so I have something to follow.
Yep.
In terms of accountability, I can be pretty accountable to myself, but it's still nice to be able to check in with somebody. So I think there's certainly an element of accountability for sure. And I think that plays perhaps a bigger part in somebody else. If you're not an expert in this field, like, I think accountability and the motivation to do something, you know, that's why we have a coach. But for me, for every coach that I've worked with, I've learned something new.
Yeah, cool.
And sometimes it can come down to like exercise execution.
Yep.
You know, we've been in the field a long time. You know, we think we know how to activate certain muscle groups or whatever. You know, working with a coach one-on-one, like, it just takes things to a whole new level, and it, if anything, accelerates things, so you can do things more quickly. So I guess that's why I have a trainer, and I'll continue now to always have a coach in that particular area. Same with business coaching. Same with, you know, in terms of like lifestyle coaching. I'm married to a life coach.
That'll be interesting arguments and
interesting. It's funny, you know, David and I were just like, we never argue, we never bicker, we just it's so easy, and I think it's because we have like a mutual understanding of if I do something that pisses him off, if he does something that pisses me off, I just let it go in my head. I'm like, whatever, like, I'm just,
you're both quite emotionally intelligent people though, so
and it's being able to manage your state. You know, of course there are times where, you know, both of us are tired with the baby, and you just have to be like, nah. You know, it takes more energy sometimes to have an argument than it does to be like, nah. Fair enough. Know, so emotional intelligence is a big one. And being able to manage your state, for sure. The biggest.
Awesome. One last question. One thing that we get asked a lot from girls who are planning to have children, and they always say, oh, what's your suggestions around exercise and training and this and that? And I really have I guess a belief that the majority of training should happen before you fall pregnant.
There we go.
Would you agree? Is that something?
100%. You want to get in shape quickly after you've had a baby, like, train 20 years prior.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, I said it. You know? You have to have a base to work from, and you know that there are people fall pregnant after they've been on a piss in Vegas for like, you know, a week, and they've got a happy, healthy baby. And so, you know, if somebody's going through, I'll talk on two extremes. Okay, that's one extreme. The other extreme is, you know, I have clients at the moment who are going through IVF. There are some very old school doctors who say don't exercise whilst you're going through IVF. You know, that's down to your doctor. You know, it's not for me to say, but I don't think there's anything wrong with going for a walk. That's exercise. You know, I think it's important to keep moving. And it's the same with when you're trying to fall pregnant, or, you know, you've just fallen pregnant. Exercise stays more or less the same. And, you know, you shouldn't be necessarily doing all this crazy high intensity stuff 5 days a week. If you are, that has to change. But here's the thing, here's what I've noticed. Those ladies who do crazy exercise beforehand and have struggled with emotional eating, or have struggled with hidden issues with food, fall pregnant, can't continue to do that high intensity exercise, have real problems after they've given birth. Because they have no baseline to go back to. So if you're looking to fall pregnant, definitely sort out your emotional issues with food. And get a baseline of, you know, well, you're not dieting anymore. Like, we shouldn't be dieting all the time. Like, women are consistent on these stupid diets, like, all the time, whether that's, you know, you can't count calories for the rest of your life. you know, if you're counting calories right now and you think that that's a system that you can maintain for the rest of your life, mate, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, we shouldn't be dieting. We should be at a stage where we should be able to, you know, it's just intuitive eating, but that's what it is. Like, there are some days you're going to be hungrier, eat more.
Yeah.
There are some days you're not as hungry, eat less.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that emotional attachment to food and you have a healthy relationship with your body, you're going to be able to judge as and when. You know, if you go and do a high intensity training session and you're hungry after, eat more.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to restrict yourself, you know, you're not a robot. Your body is going to tell you what you need. If you try and fight those signals, good luck.
Yeah.
No wonder you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big stuff, and some really good tips, man. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very,
it's great
very
to be
much.
back in Sydney.
It's good to have you, Rach.
Home.
How long are you here for?
So we're here for another week. We've been here for 3 weeks now. So it's been awesome to be back, awesome to be home. And so, but yeah, we'll be back in Dubai for the next couple of years, and then who knows?
Wonderful.
Inshallah, as they say.
Who knows, really? It's up in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly.
Well, it's a pleasure getting a little bit of time, because I know it's been a busy trip for you, and you've got the baby, and he's done amazingly well. Yeah.
Oh, he loves necklaces.
Yeah, he's done very well. Maybe one day we can get you and the husband on the show together.
Definitely.
Talking deep.
I should send David in. Oh my gosh, he will go deep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be
sure.
fantastic. That'd be fantastic. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for imparting your experiences and wisdom, especially around parenting and fitness. I'm sure there's some absolute gold mines there. Rad, do you have any last words?
No, it's great to have you back, Rachel. It's,
we've come a long way, all three of us. Like kids and like gyms and personal development. And
yeah. It's funny, huh? Yeah, we certainly have. Yeah.
Just one thing I do want to say though is, like, you know, when we were talking about, you know, the former life before children, like, there are times where I still think, like, I've still got some Vegas left in me.
We
the rat bag's still in there. She's still in there.
All the time. We want to do
I was even thinking, like, if we do a honeymoon, we're going to do like a week in somewhere crazy and a week in somewhere really relaxing.
Amazing.
You know? Yeah.
That's how the rat bag's still in there.
Yeah.
She's just on a quiet.
I don't think that ever goes. I don't think it ever goes.
It'll ever go.
Yeah.
She'll just be.
Yeah.
For
those of you wondering what we're talking about, there's been some epic trips to Vegas with this some of this crew, and you never know. Just keep an eye out for us. We may end up back there.
Some of the worst hangovers of my life, but epic memories.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
All right. Tribe, good show. Thank you very much. And great to see that we're finally working around our video quality. We got more high-def video quality going on. I'm very excited about that. So those of you who will catch this on YouTube, enjoy the better video content and quality. We have big things coming for this podcast and this live show. Unity-V will have its own studio soon. We're very excited about that, and lots more, and some great guests coming up too. So thank you very much, Tribe. We appreciate you, and we appreciate every moment you give us to share our message, and we will catch you next week. Have a great day. And work out.